I'll try to summarize what I tried to say in Chinese a short while ago. I want to say a few things about Singapore development since it began its conscious struggle in 1954. A lot of the younger generation do not know or appreciate the fact that Singapore's struggle for self-government and independence was through a constitutional process which really began in 1954 under the Rebel Constitution. At the time, the British introduced the Interreligious Constitution, in which it allocated 18 seats to be elected in a partial elected chambers. The main seat was still retained by the colonial power, the colonial secretary, the attorney general, and the financial secretary. In other words, the 18 elected ministers, so-called, do not have real power to change Singapore. That was the reason when the PIM was formed in 1954 November, it said it would participate on a token basis by submitting only 4 representatives to take part in the election. They will expose the inadequacy of the Constitution and ask for larger changes for self-government and independence. That was the basis on which the PIM was formed under the support of the Singapore Chinese Middle Students Union and the trade union movement, both very youthful groups of young people from the 17 to the 25. These students were all aged between 17 to 20. Some were overaged, some had problems after the Second World War. The trade unions were newly formed, called the Shop and Factory Workers Union, under the leadership of a very youthful Ling Shaw, who was then 21. These were the two groups who organized Singapore's main mass, we call them, who supported the PAP in forming the government. It provided the best place for the creation of PAP in November 1954, and which gave the greater power to the PAP to come to power. Otherwise, the PAP would not be any better than the other political parties on the scene, or even worse. That was the reason why the PAP won such respect and admiration in the 1955 election after the Rebel Constitution, even though it fielded only 4 representatives, of which he won 3, and thereby began his long career to power. And that career to power was again under the support of the students' movement and the labor movement. In 1955, the people wanted 3 seats. In 1956, Marshall, who took power under the Constitution, resigned in 1955 over some dispute with the British over negotiation of independence. When Marshall stepped down, Lim Yew Hock took over and worked closely with the British to put an end to the strength of the student movement and the labor movement. This they did quite subtly, since slowly over a period of years. In 1956, for example, the single child middle school students was banned after it was just registered for a year. In 1950, some of the main leaders of the single child middle school students were arrested, including its leader, Robertson Lopun, and others. There was a further arrest of the labor union leaders in 56, 57. In 1957, there was also an arrest of some party leaders within the inter-party struggle. Further arrests were made in 58. These arrests were made at a time when the people was not in power and no one blamed him. In fact, if you read the speeches of that period, Lee Kuan Yew cried murder for these arrests. It was on this basis that the student movement, the labor movement, continued its support of the PAP and push the PAP to power in 1959 general election. Looking back, it seems so naive that what I would call the left wing, so naive to believe that they could trust the people so much, although there were clear signs along the way, although they were not in power, of course, that they could not be totally glad. And this was seen almost from the very beginning, when requests and then demand were made for the release of the student leaders, the labor leaders who had been detained by the Liberian government in the preceding years. This led to a lot of disagreement, misunderstanding, obviously. But even so, the belief that the left wing continues to believe that they have to work within the PAP to write what they then believe was the dirty work of the British, who was after all still in control of the ICIS, Internal Security Act and Council. Only later we came to know that the story was not that simple at all. And yet, When the split came in 1961, it was not the left which broke away, as the official history would tell you. Then it would have been, the story might have been different if that were the case, because there would have been a fight quite early on, not only for power within the PAP, but on all fronts. In fact, the PAP leaders, the left-wing leaders within the PAP held until the last, until they were removed from power, from their position, not even power, or positions. It is within the PAP that a group of 13 MPs who could not really be considered as full left-wing members of the left. They decided what was happening in the party was totally wrong, in particular regarding the way the merger plans were being discussed and decided on without consultation. They decided to break away from their own party leadership, and they were expelled from the party. The expulsion of the Barisan 13 led them to combine up with the labor leaders led by Jing Quee, Woodhull, and all this, to form what we later known as the Barisan Socialists. So when you think of Barisan Socialists, we can refer to both of these groups. But when we refer to Barisan 13, it is quite a different group. It is a rump of the PAP who left, who were expelled from the PAP. That much I think we should be clear. And that was the position. It's only then the struggle, a brief struggle. Almost overnight it became clear that all the party branches swung to the Barisan, and the people were now weak, that they were left with an empty shell. Even so, they turned towards the civil service. They created the People's Association, the Works Brigade, using government funds to finance new organization to deal with popularly elected institutions within the party structure. That was how, and with, of course, the power of the state, the civil service, and all other institutions managed slowly to take over the control. That was how we became control. And in 1963, the decisive coup de grace, almost 2 years after the split, when old friends left, we should take care of old friends. 2 years after old friends left, all of them were taken, removed into prison. Some of them whose histories you know. How can you justify their lawful detention of these people for detention for so long? And these people were not removed until they were sure that no longer any threat to the power structure. And that was the position right through for the last 50 years or so. As I was saying just now, those of you old enough, remember during the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s, how fear was still such a dominant part of our political culture and political system. Even after Jehoram managed to break through his answer, that fear continued. You know that. But it is heartening, even if I use the word, that in this year's by-election, there appears to be a change in the mood, a spirit of the people. They've not gone very far, but they're speaking up without fear. Not totally. They're still fearful to talk of what was before that time. They're still fearful to talk of what happened in the 50s and 60s. They still don't want to touch what happened in the 50s and 60s. They rather ignore this and talk of safeties like low wages, the moment, higher prices, at the moment. These are real things. This is important things not denied. But until a country, until a state can come to terms that it is a state who did not only care for the bread and butter, but also care for the spirit of a civilized society, of a free and open society, then that is still not a society which will be welcome by all. And one of the saddest part of our society is not only the search for materialism, but also the division, obvious division in our society between the old generation and the young generation because of diverse history. This is something we have to prepare. How this can be done is difficult to see as the old are passing on day by day. And the youth are developing a new set of culture. They are trying to ignore what happened in the past. And I'll say this in my final words. A society which doesn't understand that its past can never understand its present. And if it doesn't understand its present, how can it ever understand its future? Thank you.